Harb, Historical Architectural Review Board meeting. Always like to read an opening statement. Talks about why we're here. The Historic and Architectural Review Board, or Harb, was created to protect and enhance the North Wayne, South Wayne, and Luella Court districts for educational, cultural, economic, and general welfare of the public through preservation, protection, and regulation of buildings of historic interest or importance within the districts, and to safeguard elements of architectural history throughout the district which have been determined to be of historic significance. Under provisions of the Historic District Ordinance, the Harb serves to review applications for the construction, addition, or demolition of any principal building or any additions or accessory buildings. And if you're here tonight or any other night, the triggers are usually that you've submitted for a building permit and that you are either changing a footprint, making it larger, changing the height or area, or changing a scale of something. Might be a roof line or a window size. It has to end up being a structural element. But that triggers us a review by us, and that's when we look at it first. We're an advisory board that answers to the Board of Commissioners. Our ruling goes to them. They either agree or disagree, and then at that point you either have a certificate of appropriateness or not. And there's the certificate, if it's approved, they will call you and tell you to come in and sign it, and then at that point you can put in for your building permit. So it's a process that's part of the plan. There's zoning, there's other things too, but if you get an approval from us, it's an approval from us, but we're an advisory board. It goes to the Board of Commissioners and then goes from there. We're now talking about possibly getting the July 16th as the next Board of Commissioners meeting. Hopefully we'll be able to get all these things on that agenda so everything is looked at that, because otherwise you're into August. So we're positive about that, hopefully. Okay, we have 3 projects tonight. Harb 2012-13 is 230 South Wayne Avenue in Wayne. There's a side porch renovations with changes to roof, siding, trim, and windows. And also, I guess, on the application itself, it says side porch entrance and 10-foot pushback. Siding will match existing, gutters and downspouts will match existing. Exterior light fixtures and paint will match existing. Windows will be true divided light. Side porch roof will match existing. Roof and back will be metal standing seam. Side porch trim details to match existing front entry porch. That seems to be the scope. Is there anybody here to present that project? Would you come forward to the microphone and introduce yourselves? And if you have any drawings or information, just put it on the table and it'll be projected up there. And just walk us through what you're doing. And always make sure you have the microphone. So if you need a handheld, I have some up here too. So.
Bruce Trachtenberg and Lisa Cohn, the owners of the residence.
Okay.
Don't know that we were presenting as much as, I believe we had submitted everything that we were supposed to.
Yeah, but
Is there...
what we have to do as a public review is that we have to go through what you presented, or what you submitted, and then we'll review based on that. And you might want to start with a site plan, just a suggestion, just to show what you're doing in an overall sense.
You have this drawing, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so if you see over here where I'm pointing to, that is the existing back of the house. We are extending back 10 feet. This is the kitchen right here currently. excuse me, I'm sorry, the kitchen butts up against the dining room right now, goes to that existing line. We'll be inserting, the porch would go on the side here, really just as an access into the building, putting a mudroom right there, and then the kitchen would be pushing back by 10 feet. Does that make sense?
The top is the back of the house.
That is correct.
They want to put the site
Is that what you were looking for? This?
Yeah, I mean, we'd like to start with that just to get a sense of how it works on the lot. And then
Okay.
go from there.
So the all colored in area is the existing house. The checked in area in the back is where we would be extending back. And then the side porch is represented as well. Yeah.
And I guess if you can run through the photographs and orient us a little bit, that would be helpful as well.
Sure. I'm not certain what order those are in. I'm sure this has been picked up. I can start with the pictures of the house, our house. I have one here entitled, Applicant's House Affected Side. So where those shrubs are, in essence, is where the porch, the side entrance to the house would be. And you can almost see like a small covered area in the back there. That's where it would extend back.
Okay.
And then we have two views of the back of the house. One a full back of the house and the other one just focusing on that side. And there's one showing the front of the house. The one showing the front of the house, if you see the double windows, in essence, through the basketball hoop, that is roughly where the side porch would be coming in, where the entrance would be. So that's the front of the kitchen right now.
Get back to
The
that.
house on the affected side is the one with the red shutters. It says next door home, north side. Closest to affected side of applicants, 228 South Wayne. And on the left side of the photo, you'll see a side entrance porch. In essence, that would be very, very similar to what we would be doing.
This is one we approved, I think, a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so you're going to
Actually, that was on the house already. You approved an entrance in the back of the house.
And the front.
The front.
Yeah.
Oh, the front porch, that's right, that's right.
Okay. I know where it is now. Okay.
There's another photo of that same house from the side, so you see that side porch? It's labeled 228 South Wayne Avenue, next door neighbor, side of home, unaffected side of applicant's home. There are two pictures of 302 Audubon Avenue, which is a house on the unaffected side.
Okay.
One being a front view and the other one being the side that faces our house. And then lastly, there's one photo of the home directly across the street. 235 South Wayne Avenue, it says on the bottom of the post-it.
Okay. And then I guess there's an elevation that
Yes,
you could show as well. That'd be great.
which is where I started, but, thank you, Dave. Sorry. So again, that shows that side porch. And then you could see where the house extends across the back.
So it looks like you're keeping a shed roof line, and then the wall itself is on an angle beneath that?
The wall itself will be on an angle. That was in order to be able to comply with the existing variance
Setbacks?
that we got, the side setback, exactly right. So we could not go straight back. We needed to be able to keep a line parallel with the property.
There's an angle there already, is that right?
Yeah, the lot is, in essence, slice of pie shaped,
Okay.
so it narrows towards the back.
So your building does the same.
Okay. Okay, on the elevation, could you possibly describe some materials and what's existing, what you're going to, I mean, it says most of your commentary is replaced with existing or to match existing.
The siding is, excuse me, cedar, painted white.
Okay.
6-pane windows, or 12-pane windows, I guess. Again, to match it.
6/6?
6/6, thank you. Over the kitchen sink there, where you see the 3 sets of windows, those would be casement. Side porch, I believe he was using cedar as well, I don't know.
And the railing and the balustrade on the side porch?
It's either, and I'm going to blank on this, either going to be wood or what you use now that looks like wood.
Right.
That's composite and is better for the world.
AZAC or whatever.
Sorry?
Some of it's called AZAC or?
Yes,
is it-
thank you.
AZAC, yes.
We do this
Okay.
more often than I do.
Um, I don't have this in the inventory. I'm not gonna-
There's no change to the second floor then, is there? It's just
None.
going out
No,
the
no,
bottom
there's not.
of the first. Okay.
Was that original piece that you're changing on the back porch, was that an add-on?
Yes, that was. That was done roughly late 90s,
Not by us.
Oh, okay,
mid to late 90s by the previous owners.
okay, great, thanks.
And the original house, do you know the date of the house?
1929.
29, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have this on an inventory in ours, so, I mean, I don't know whether it's contributing or non-contributing, but the age of it would
Age.
probably mean it would be.
Oh,
And when
is it-
when we say non-contributing or contributing, there's a cataloging of properties in a township that have been determined to be historic in nature, and and when they're contributing, there's a little more weight put to them as far as detail, usually in age. If you're non-contributing, doesn't mean you're a bad person or anything. It just means it might be a little newer and have a little less detail that is historic to that particular original fabric.
We are the new 1920 house
Yeah,
in the land of
exactly.
1880s.
And that's exactly what that
We are-
means.
We're the add-on in
Exactly.
the 1920s.
So
in
for
our
that
neighborhood.
district,
The-
you're not within that period, even though you're historic in your own right.
Yeah, I believe the house on the non-affected side subdivided the property and put that house
Oh,
up.
okay.
I believe that to be
Makes
the case. That was part of that property, 302 Audubon.
That makes sense.
So I mean, it looks like from the street, we're able to see maybe the side of this porch.
Correct.
The side porch.
And the new entrance too. You'll be able to see that.
This one,
Yeah,
or
that one, I guess.
the side.
That side porch
Yeah,
is the
side
new
porch,
entrance.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the rest of it's, to the side or towards the rear, and actually, gives it a better proportion, I think, than you have now. Usually when we're more concerned about things that are visible from the street, or, those kinds of things, so. And you're certainly doing that particular roof line in a similar fashion to the rest of the, kind of typical shed roof details that are of this age. So I think it's all appropriate. Any other comments from anybody?
Yeah, I think that the fact that the, what you're taking away was not historical too is significant in the sense that you're not taking away anything that was really important. So you can't, it's not visible from the street, it's not historically significant, and what you're putting back, I think, is in keeping with the proportions and the materials. So I think it's a good project. I mean, I just had one question about the balusters. Are they just going to be square balusters with, that meets code, just very simple?
We expect them to be simple, but we've not gotten that detailed yet in the plans and started shopping them, if you will.
Yeah.
But the plan is for simplicity. I mean, the rest of the house is that way, and we want to make it consistent with the rest of the house.
Through the front.
Yeah, because when I look at the other house next to it, it looks like they did something similar, and on the one that we just approved. It's a simple side porch, and the front is just simple square balusters.
Yeah.
So,
And it looks like it's similar to your front porch as well,
Yeah.
so.
yeah, I think it's in keeping with
I do too.
the character of the house, which is basically what we're looking for.
Right.
Yep.
And your front sort of portico entry has the square column.
Right.
Those details seem to be in a smaller version on the side as well. You're going to keep that at the
Correct.
square columns and the capitals and whatnot. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve a certificate of appropriateness.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have, how many do we have tonight? Four to none. So you've been approved for a certificate, and as I said in the beginning, they get it on the July 16th and approve it. They will call you several days later to say, come in and sign the certificate.
So
And
that's
if you-
after the meeting on the 16th.
Yes, and
Okay.
give them a day or two, but they'll call you and say it's ready.
Do we need to be here for the meeting on the 16th?
No, that's, they're ruling on us. Nothing you say then matters at that point. It's already done. And so they'll call you, say, come in and sign this, and if you have plans ready, you could submit them right then. If you don't have plans ready, at least you have that, and then you can submit plans, because you've already
So
been through
forgive,
them.
this is the first time I've gone through this project, so
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm trying to-
further plans need to be submitted?
Well, construction plans.
The construction plans?
Yeah, nothing on our end of things. We're complete. So I was saying, if you have everything ready to go in construction world, then you sign that, you give it to the powers that be, and they'll start the whole thing. And you've been through zoning, you've done everything else you're supposed to do, so, okay. All right, well, thank you very much.
Perfect,
Thank you. Is this yours?
Yes. Cam, one thing, if they need grading or engineered permits for
Okay.
stormwater and all, that needs to be done also.
Okay. Whenever you increase the area of a building, typically, the first permit you apply for is what's called a grading permit, which will be that site plan that you have, but it'll...
I've taken the grading permit documentation.
Yeah.
So we just need to be able to give that to the architect and the contractor.
Okay. Well, that's one step that's before the building permit. Like, they have a grading permit that's just the site plan. And if you have that, great, but that'll go in, and then after that, then the building permit can go in.
But I don't need that completed for the 16th meeting.
No. The 16th is just for us.
Before we can start wielding hammers.
Yes. Yeah, it's all that's, and if you have any questions, just call the township and tell them where you are in the process, and they'll reiterate exactly what you need to do.
Terrific, thank you.
Okay? All right, thank you. Let me fold some paper up here. Sorry. Okay, we have project number 2 is Harb 2012-14, 229 West Wayne Avenue, Wayne. Removal of front of greenhouse, existing wing of northwest rear of building, and basement steps. Can you
Good evening.
introduce yourself and run us through it, please?
Sure. Dave Falcone with Saul Ewing here on behalf of Kaz Holloway with respect to a couple of projects tonight, but the first, I guess, is 229 West Wayne Avenue, Adelberger Florist. that you all may be more familiar with, Adelberger. Put down a plan, but then the plan that I'm showing here shows the changes that we are proposing, and Tim Wentz, the architect, will speak to them a little more specifically.
Hey, Dave, can you hold on one second? I'm not sure we have that.
Was this submitted?
We have a lot of
This
the
was
well
submitted
stuff.
with the application.
The second one to this.
I've got all the well.
It's the one with the salmon color. on the
Okay, I'll just share. I don't have that.
The
Okay,
plan I'm
so
showing here as well is salmon as well. So, as you know, we've been in front of the Harb previously for this site, and we've talked about some of the things we were moving out back and changes to the overall look of the commercial building out front. And what we're discussing here is just with respect to that commercial building and some additional changes we're proposing based on meetings we've had with the Planning Commission and discussions we've had with them about kind of working that commercial building into the appropriate size and scope with the related residential development out back and trying to get enough separation between the two and so forth. So to that end, Tim will discuss exactly what we're doing, but we are removing an additional wing of the commercial building and then also removing some stairs that kind of they access the basement but don't access really an area of that building that we're going to use those steps for, so they're superfluous. And then also an additional portion of the greenhouse. We had originally come in to remove the front portion. Now we're removing the entire portion. And then with respect to the rear, we had originally proposed to remove just a portion, and now we're removing the entire thing. Before we move any further, though, in an interest of full disclosure, with respect to our discussions with the Planning Commission, the idea of potentially using this site as all residential as opposed to the split use has come up. In our next meeting in front of the Planning Commission, we're going to present a sketch plan which shows the commercial building being entirely removed. This is something we're doing in response to our discussion with them and hasn't gone beyond that sketch plan site. So if you see us again and we're talking about getting rid of the commercial building, we didn't want you all to think that we were kind of holding something behind our back. That's in full disclosure. We do have a sketch plan submitted already to the township, and that's no further beyond that stage of just sketch and discussion with the Planning Commission. So whatever they think is best use for this property, we're happy to go along with their suggestion. So that's where we are with respect to that plan.
Okay, thank you.
Dave loves to steal my thunder. Tim Wentz, Gate 17 Architecture. With regards to the existing building, the last time we came in, we talked about removing this piece right here, right there, and this piece right here, basically squaring the building off. And then since then, we've decided it makes more sense to also delete this greenhouse structure in the front and also this back structure right here. And there's a staircase that's going down into the basement, which we learned was superfluous because there's an interior staircase which goes down into the basement. It gives us the added advantage of being able to respond to some of the Planning Commission's comments about the fact that they wanted us to increase the distance between the back of the florist building and the townhouse, which is right next to it. It was at one point about 8 feet. We moved it to 10 feet, which is what the Planning Commission wanted. They came back to us and said, nah, 10 feet's not enough, so now we're at 16 and a half feet. I have pictures, if we can switch over to my computer, and I can show you the pictures of the pieces of the florist building we're going to remove, if you want to see them.
Yes, that'd be great. Thank you.
problem is we'd like a little bit of lead time so we can make that work, as opposed to you just showing up and doing that.
I apologize. If I have manual
You're
pictures?
up anyway, but
Oh, we're up, okay. This is the front of the building. This is the greenhouse that we're going to remove, which is located right in the front along West Wayne Avenue.
Oh, here it is. Got it now.
And then you can see it from the main entrance that it's showing off to the side there. And in the back of the building, you can see that extension, that addition that was added on that we're going to tear off, which again was in the back of the building, which will allow us to increase the distance away from the townhouses that are proposed. And this is the stair, which is the stair to nowhere, because you go down the stair, open the door, and there's a wall right there. So that's going to be filled in also. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take the whole back of the building and clean it up so it's more presentable to the townhouses which are looking at it. So this is really simplifying the building, cleaning it up, making it more attractive, and more coherent with the community that we're developing. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I just had a question. On the backs, I don't know if it's the back side of the building, but the side of the building next to the entrance, the new entrance.
Yes.
I think what we discussed last time, those two wings were going to be taken off.
That's correct.
But they're staying there now?
No, they are
gonna
coming
go
off also.
Okay. And is there a sidewalk going to be there?
Yes, we're going to have a, do we have the copy of the new site?
Tim, you may have also, I wasn't here for the last meeting, but you may have given a quick history of this site and what this, the age of this particular building. I mean, there was an original, something burned or something, and then there's...
Well, the original building burned down. This is what we've learned from Mr. Adelberger. And I believe that this building was built in the 50s, but don't hold me to it.
Okay.
And then there were subsequent additions to it.
And the original was from late 1800s or whatever.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we can switch back to... There was another fire, and this was all done. Okay.
Okay.
All right, here we are.
Yeah, I see that.
There was an addition that came out right here. This is what we're taking out. And there was an addition right here that was taken out, and then the front greenhouse is being removed. And the main drive to the residential is coming up here, and we have a sidewalk which is coming up along the side of the building.
Okay.
So we're trying to
As I recall,
create a
yeah.
pedestrian and vehicular entrance to the back of the property.
Right. Okay.
And you can see how we've become much cleaner in the back, and the distance between the back of the building and the first townhouse is substantially greater than what it was proposed.
When you remove all these things, what's sort of finish is going to be proposed, and is it fenestration? Is it whoever
Well,
the
we're-
tenant is? I mean, is there some
We're
kind of-
proposing that there would be some type of fenestration along this wall that would act as a showcase for whatever's being sold in the retail building. In the back, since it's more of a service back, it'll probably be solid stucco that would match the existing stucco.
The present building is stucco, glass and stucco?
Yes.
Do you have a Conestoga Road view of this by any chance?
I do.
Excellent.
I'm going to be shot for wanting to go back.
And this is one of these properties that was contributing in its original state, but is not anymore, but it's historically significant because it's been there forever. But we've got a 50s building that's been added onto, and now it's getting cleaned up, so it's kind of like whatever they're doing to it to make it better is better.
Exactly.
And I'm not sure that we have a whole lot of things to draw from on this, other than,
No, I almost think that the so-called historic significance of Adelberger's having something there, commercial, and you're continuing commercial,
yeah, it's more of
feels
a
right.
use.
It's like exactly.
I think the only thing we really have to go on is scale.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
even in terms of use, it's been commercial for such a long time, and right now you're keeping it commercial, but it seems to me that even if it were changed to residential, the building isn't historically significant anymore. So it seems to me that as long as the scale is correct and the materials and that kind of thing, as long as it is within the historic district, and that's the only thing that seems to me would be significant. The roof lines and that's the massing and that kind of thing. But I mean,
Yeah, the massing of the existing building is going to remain the same. It's all those little additions that popped up
Right.
over the years that are going to be taken off,
Yeah.
so that we can actually clean up the mansard roof which surrounds the building.
yeah, and-
And as a retail use, it's going to remain a one-story building, which is what it is.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I just don't know that we have, it's basically a stucco building with glass.
It's a stucco box.
Yeah.
With-
Well,
And it's
I
got, is it
think
a
that-
false mansard, or is it a real
It's a-
mansard?
No, it's a false mansard.
Okay, so
Right.
it's a stick-on mansard,
Right.
and,
yeah.
I think the conclusion the last time we looked at this was that there was no historical significance to this building. No.
other than,
Now,
I guess-
separate and
Historical
apart
use.
from that
It's the
was
site. The site is, but the building, you're right.
the impact of the entire residential
Right.
project and the size of it.
Right.
But we dealt with that issue, so.
so did you have anything else to walk us through on this, or?
No,
Okay.
I mean, it's just basically cleaning up the
Okay.
hodgepodge.
Let's, because, I don't know, anybody want to make any other comments about it? Because, in my opinion, it's, it can only get cleaner, and it is not a historic structure, so we
No.
can't really say, match
No.
this, do that. It's
Right,
really-
I think it's almost more of a planning commission issue than anything.
Now, if you knock it down and you're putting something else up, that's when we look at it again and start thinking about that kind of, those things, because then there's scale, there's materials, all those, but it is what it is right now.
Well, in fact, if, what we would be planning on doing if we knocked it down, right now we're proposing 2 3-plexes in the back. We would just add another 3-plex in the front. So you've basically seen what the front building would look like already.
Right, okay. But for now, this is where we're headed.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
We wanted to keep you completely apprised.
That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to issue a certificate of appropriateness.
Second?
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4 to none. Okay, July 16th,
Okay.
hopefully.
I'll stay standing since I'm next.
All right. Next and final project, Harb 2012-15, 40 Luella Court, Wayne. Removal and infill of oil boiler chimney, lower and enclose east fire escape stairwell. Oh, okay. A replacement of doors and window, east elevation. Reconfigure elevator shaft using existing light well and a standing seam roof. And then there's some notes, description of work. See if there's anything different here. This kind of clarifies what the general application said. It said, remove oil boiler chimney and extend gutter line. Lower rooftop oil boiler chimney extension to original limestone cap detail. Lower and enclose east fire escape stairwell and install 3-foot by 7-foot flush door to be painted same color as stucco. Replace second floor east window with typical existing window. Replace east elevation arch door opening with 108 inches by 41 inch Pella door typical of doors on north and south elevation. replaced east elevation first floor window with a 108 by 41 inch Pella door typical to item number 5, and enlarge 9-foot 7-inch by 8-foot by 5-foot 2-inch high existing light well to 10-foot by 9-foot 4 by 5-foot 2 elevator shaft with standing seam metal roof to match existing light well. I'm sure you will clarify every one of these things for us.
I will.
Thank you.
It's a mouthful. What I'd like to do is attack the east side first, since this is the most substantial change that we're having to the building. The top elevation is what is existing. This portion of the building, this corner, was actually, I think, one of the last additions to the building. And they also, I feel at this time, they built this staircase, which is completely exposed to the outside. It has a curved roof on the top, and it's stucco, and it sticks out from the mansard roof, and it looks exactly like it shouldn't. There was a door here which didn't match any of the existing doors, and there was a small window that didn't match any of the other existing windows except for the one that was on the north face, which we talked to you about in a previous submission and said we want to get rid of those 2 small windows and put big windows in that would match all the others. So this is what we're proposing to do. What we want to do is to fill in, or I should say fully enclose, this staircase. And you can see down here that what we would do is just have the stucco continue straight across. There would be no bump out. It would be flush with the existing elevation. We would have a single door that would be painted to match the stucco, which would be the exit door for the staircase itself. This section of this upper roof, which is what I object to the most, what we're going to do is to carry the mansard straight across at that point, so that we're going to clean up this whole elevation and make it look like this staircase never existed. This window here, which is the one I talked about, which doesn't match any window in the whole building, we're going to put in a new window which matches the other windows on this elevation. This window at this location is going to become a door. Now, if you remember, in both the north and the south sides of the building, there were several windows which had access out to the porches. We're going to duplicate that detail so that we've got a door which comes from the unit directly behind it out to the outside, and then we're going to match it with that door there. And these doors are going to be similar to this window which is shown on this elevation here. So we're basically cleaning up this whole elevation and making it more conform to what the existing elevations of the building are.
Could you, I think it would be helpful to the public if you show this picture. Do you have that? Because this really explains what it looks like now, and
Good,
you
thank
can see that it wasn't original to the building.
Yeah, this is an interesting picture for many reasons. Number one is you really get to see what the impact of this staircase is on this elevation. Number two is because you're looking down on the roof, you start to see all these structures that were on the roof that you could walk around that building till the cows came home and you would never see any of those structures. I didn't even know they existed until someone started going up on the roof and surveying it. There are various light wells and for the building itself, the staircase light wells, and also some just plain skylight light wells. The next thing I want to point out is that we have a chimney here which is on the north face, and I can show that in elevation, but you can see the impact of it on the side elevation. Since that chimney was for the existing boiler, which is going to be removed, it became superfluous. So what we would like to do is to get rid of that chimney completely and clean up the elevation. Are there any questions on the east side?
I guess I had one question. The door that you're going to duplicate from previous or other elevations, it's like a French door? Is that?
No, well, it'll be a single door. It won't be a French door that
Oh, wait,
opens
not
double
two, but
light.
one,
Correct.
and those same, I guess they were windows, they were odd in the sense they were like three, a door-sized window opening. Were those going to remain as they were? They were kind of an odd, like you lifted up and,
Well, it was a very strange detail because it was a window that stood over top of two small panels which opened up.
right, right,
Then
right.
you would open the window up, and as you walk through, you clunk your head because it's too low, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. And so what we're replacing it with is a single door, which is all glass,
Like like
you
this
know,
one, kind of.
like a swing kind of door
Okay.
that matches the existing windows, the tall windows that you see on the
You
elevation.
can walk.
Yes.
Got it, got it.
How tall are those windows, or the doors, to-be doors? Oh, so that's pretty tall, yeah.
And these new doors are servicing the units behind them as egress? Or-
Yes. They would be egress doors to the outside,
Okay.
and it would also allow those units to have direct access to the patio.
And the surrounds will be made out of the same material, or I guess the marble or the?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then in terms of all the windows, I've missed some of the discussions, but you're replacing all the windows in the building, is that right? And
Yes, we got Pella to actually match the muntins, both in dimension and in number of divided lights, so that the windows are as close to the originals as you can possibly be with a modern window.
yeah. Are they metal windows?
They're wood windows with aluminum cladding.
Oh, okay. Okay, great,
So they're wood on the inside and aluminum on the outside.
okay.
Any other questions about the east?
When was that stairway put on? Do you know? It's so inappropriate to the building.
Maybe when it was made into a school.
My sentiments exactly.
But it was maybe when it was made into a school, they had needed to, I don't know.
Well, my guess is when they divided this up from the hotel into apartments, that some of the apartments didn't have access from the center hall. So this provided access to them.
Oh.
In the demolition process thus far, can you tell if there was any evidence of a dormer in almost the location of the stairwell or not, I mean, it sort of seems like that wants to have 3 dormers on it. Is there any indication that used to be a dormer, or there was a, that was taken out?
Nothing that we've seen, both from
Okay.
the inside or the outside.
Okay.
As I said, my guess is that they built this portion of the building when they built the staircase.
Okay. So you're gonna shave that upper section back to match the slope of the mansard and then continue it across and detail the soffit lines and all that?
Exactly.
All right. I think everybody understand that
Yep.
elevation?
Yep.
Okay, let's go
Okay.
to the next one.
Now, on the north elevation, it may be hard to see on the screen, but you'll be able to see on your drawings that the chimney that we're proposing to remove is located right here. And what we are going to do is to basically fill in the section where it penetrates the dormer of the roof and just have the roof go continuously across. And the windows that I had mentioned on the east elevation that didn't match any of the other existing windows, they were also occurred here and here, and in our previous testimony, we stated that we were going to take those windows out and match them up with existing windows. And there's two other minor details. There is a chimney here, which we're going to retain, but we can lower it so that it doesn't stick up as much as it does, and it will meet the code requirements for distance off of the roof. And then the final, up on the roof structure, is that there is a penthouse that is a light well, and of course we are converting that light well into an elevator shaft, and we need to increase the size of that approximately 1 foot. And it had a glass roof on it, which wouldn't meet code, and what we're going to do is to put a standing seam roof on it so that it meets code.
1 foot width, not height.
Correct.
You don't have a picture of that facade, do you?
Of what?
You don't have a picture of that the north facade, do you? You know, like this one. This one is so helpful. I was just wondering if you have something like that.
Is this it right here?
Oh, yeah. I don't think I have that.
Yeah. This is the chimney that we're going to be taking out.
Okay.
You can see it cuts right through the fascia boards and cuts out part of the mansard roof, so we're going to restore that so it's just continuously across.
And that was a later addition as mechanical things came into
Yeah.
play. There's no ornamentation on the top either, it's just a flat.
Yeah, it's hard to date a lot of the components of this building because there's just been additions on top of additions.
This is a good, for it's worth a good view to show the rooftop things don't show very much.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You know, you can see, even taking pictures across the street, you can't see any of these rooftop appurtenances.
And the other chimneys, there are 4 or 5 of them on in the central part of the. I don't remember exactly the count, but
You can see from this picture that this is the chimney that's going to be removed right here. This is the chimney that's going to be shortened. And you can see that there are other light wells that have skylights on them that will be repaired, with the exception of the one which is by the elevator, which is going to have to be increased in size.
so the one that's higher was an extension of the original, which matched all the other ones.
Right.
And you're just going to restore it to make it look like the rest of them. Okay.
Good.
And these will be non-functioning chimneys? Or they might be functioning, or going to... What's that?
Yeah. Did you hear that?
Yeah, so they're just going to be for show, but they're going to be maintained.
Yes.
Okay. And the one that's higher will be lowered to be equal to the originals.
Yes. This is the elevator penthouse that we were talking about, and the existing penthouse is 9.7 by 8'0", and we're going to have to increase it to 9.8 by 8'4". But we're going to be able to maintain the existing height. And you can see that there's glass here that we're going to have to remove and put a standing seam roof on it. Again, you're not going to see this from the ground.
Is this something that's made out of iron, or do you have any idea what it's made of?
I think it's wood.
It's wood? Okay.
Yeah.
So the end gables are probably wood panel or something?
Yeah, you can see that it's wood there.
Okay.
Block.
Do you want to speak in the speaker? I know. Next time.
Okay. You interpret.
Right.
Okay. All right, so
There's
we've
not
got
an- oh.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
There's not an elevator in the building now, is there?
No, there's not.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
We're going to be putting an elevator in which goes from the basement up to the 3rd floor. And the overrun will be within the height of this penthouse.
You know, I think it's really interesting looking at the facade, at the new facade of the north elevation, because it really looks like a Victorian hotel. And it was a hotel at one time. I really think it's, in the drawing, in the new north elevation, really looks like, I think the proportions are good. I think removing all these appendages really cleans it up.
Thank you. I agree with you.
And I don't think that you'll see the changes on the roof from below because of the sight lines, so I don't think that makes a difference one way or the other, really.
That's nice.
And
But-
the other light wells, that were being repaired, are they just for units? They're going to be individual, reused for them?
Yes.
And there's one other light well that's over a stair that's going to be just turned into a standing seam roof rather than glass or something?
Well, actually, it's an interpretation for the fire marshal. Different municipalities would look at it different ways. It actually does not have to be rated because it's to the outside, but some fire marshals, we haven't really presented this to him, would not accept that. In that case, we would put a standing seam roof over top of it, just like we are with the elevator shaft.
So just whatever its pitch is, this would be the same?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, not visible from the street? The thing that is visible from the street is that you're lowering the one chimney that was raised some time ago. So you're bringing it down to where it originally was, and you're removing one that was added as part of some of these additional additions, and when mechanical things changed a bit. And, you know, making the east elevation and the north elevation have a more uniform window cadence and door cadence as well.
So in essence, you're doing preservation in certain parts, not restoration, because you're bringing back to the original period.
Yeah.
I mean, that's technical.
Well, I mean, it's not really,
Well-
because they're making changes to the windows and so
I'm
forth.
saying in general, I'm not saying the entire
But-
project is, but in essence, you're picking certain features and not upgrading them for the new purpose, you're bringing it back to the original, the facade, let's say, that piece of the facade. You're bringing back to what was once there. Just present.
Yes.
I mean, I know I'm picking and choosing, but I'm just saying
Yes.
in general, it's a mixture, this project of rehabilitation.
What we're doing is the areas that we're repairing in the spirit of the existing detailing of the house. It's not a true preservation,
Well, right, right, you're right, absolutely right.
and it's not a true restoration.
It's a mix.
It's It's maintaining the detailing of the house, and those areas which are new, are in the spirit of the house, so that it appears, if one were to look at it when we're done, that this very well could have been an original house.
Well, I think it's an interesting project in the sense that that the building is evolving, and all buildings evolve unless they're museums. So the building is evolving. You're not bringing it back to necessarily what it was originally, but I think that you're keeping, the major essence of the building, and what you're talking about, these details are details. I don't think it's that they're changing the character, you're changing it for the better as far as I'm concerned, but I think that you're keeping the character of the building by you're enhancing the character of the building by doing these things.
And, unmuddling
Right.
an addition or additions that were done subsequent to the original, or,
You're right.
subsequent good additions. There's some things that were not in character at all that were introduced, which we're now being taken back to something that is more relevant to, what it is, what it originally is.
My favorite page in the Old House Journal was the muddling of the month, which was always
The last
the back
page.
cover.
Yes.
I love that.
I'm glad you caught that reference.
Yes.
That was, yeah.
I like the changes to the east side and the north side. Anything for the west?
Well, we've gone through the west in
Right.
great detail, and
Right.
you have wholeheartedly approved it.
So that's still on board for.
Still on board.
All right, so I think you've gone through your list, right? Light well, first floor window, arch, typical window, fire escape stairwell, boiler, chimney, an extended chimney. I think they've hit 1 through 7, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anybody got any other comments, questions? I think we need to have any public comment? Okay. I forgot to ask that on the other two. Sorry about that. All right, any motions?
I'm making a motion to issue a certificate of appropriateness.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4 to none.
Thank you.
You have our blessing on that one. Now that we've done that, I'm inviting anyone, you or Kaz, to kind of bring us up to date on what's going on, how progress is going, what you found that's exciting, what you think you're going to do that's different, or any new news.
Give us a skinny.
Yeah.
Thank you. We commenced construction mid-May. We have all of the interior demolition complete on all 4 floors, and by 4 floors, I mean 3rd floor, top floor, 2nd, 1st, and the lower level of the basement, which will also act as the connection to the underground garage. There's some things that really impressed us about the building. The building is solid brick, has a stone brick foundation, and then all the way up to the mansard, it's 18-inch brick around the entire perimeter, except the addition that Tim was just talking about, which is actually 12 inches on the 3rd floor and 18 inches, 12 inches on the 2nd floor and 18 inches on the lower floor, and then it's the mansard roof. So there isn't one stress or crack in the entire brick structure, which is just absolutely phenomenal. After we removed all the plaster, we found out that the entire building was still all knob and tube wiring. They had replaced the wiring in the basement with 25 meters for the 25 apartments, but it was 100 amp service, and they connected it to the knob and tube. And I have no idea how that building continued to operate with that type of wiring. There wasn't one stitch of new wiring in the entire building on the first, second, and third floor.
So it was 100 amp total?
100 amp per unit.
Oh, per unit, okay, that's a little
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Okay. No, it's not, but, you know.
We've removed all the plaster, all the lead. We're certified, our company is certified in lead removal. That's all been done by code. We also found the asbestos had been removed in 1991. It was certified when the previous owner bought the building. However, when we opened up the plaster walls, we did find some pipes that had some asbestos, so we stopped, brought in an asbestos removal company, and they removed everything per DEP standards, and that's all been done. So the building is totally clean of all asbestos and lead. The windows, there's over 200 window openings in the building. When we went to remove the windows, 75% of the sashes of those windows were rotted from the sill up 3 feet on the sashes. They literally could just be pulled out. So we're replacing all of the blocking with pressure-treated lumber to set the new windows, and they'll all be anchored in with epoxy anchors. The coins around the windows had all been painted, and we looked at several companies, and the one company came in to do wet blasting, certified in lead removal, because there was a lot of lead on the paint, and that was all done by code. It's all done with tents, and the wet blasting has they use not sand, but it's actually crushed glass, real fine beads of glass with 10% water and air. And what it does, it just kind of allows the lead to drop straight down onto tarps that they roll up at the end of the day. So that's going along very well, and that is Pennsylvania blue marble. It's not limestone, so it's really beautiful, and we're going to be able to restore how the building looked when it was originally built. So we're very excited. Tim has done a brand new survey of the entire building, because what we had previously was our best guesstimate. We couldn't even get into some of the occupied units originally. So now we have a complete survey, all the center lines of the windows, everything. So our working drawings are going to be 100% complete going forward. We're doing fire suppression. We're also commercial grade. We're also going to do a dry sprinkler system up in the mansard, which is anywhere from 3 feet to 5 feet high. So all that area which was unprotected, and when you think of the type of electrical wiring that was in that building and how dry the timbers are, it's just amazing. So we're very encouraged. We're actually ahead of schedule on where we thought we'd be at this time. So we feel very good about moving forward. And do you have any questions?
I think you mentioned this before, but as you're going along, you're doing a photographic survey or a photographic record.
Yes, we actually did a video. We had a professional company come in and do a complete video of the building, and they're doing video stages through the construction process. We also took over 1,000 photographs. We had a photographer, Megan O'Neill, come in and document every unit pre-existing, the 25 units, as is, the exterior. In fact, that high shot that you saw of the roof, she took that from the crane. She was out the same day we had the tree man coming down, taking the trees down. So she was brave enough to get in the box and go up. So she took some great shots. But what we're doing is she's coming out on a weekly basis and taking progression. So we're going to be able to have a whole history from beginning to end of the entire building. And there's some just neat details in the building that they did back in 1865 that just blew us away. The stucco to make it look like real stone. It just was beautiful. So, and that was behind the walls when they added the wings for the hotel. So I think it's just exciting. You can tell I'm pretty excited about it. But I'm very happy that we're through what I call the dirty process. The neighbors were very concerned about how the dust and everything, and we've gone to great lengths as we were removing all the plaster and the trim. We were actually hosing it down as it was being emptied into the dumpsters and everything, keeping all the dust to the minimum. And there's been no dust from the blasting, the wet blasting on the outside of the building. So we're very pleased with the way it's proceeding, and we feel. I'm sorry.
What's projected place in service?
We're hoping to have the first settlement May of next year. Yeah. So, and that's assuming we can comply with everything that this gentleman over here needs.
And in any of the, kind of architectural details that you're remaking, you're using originals to make new pieces.
Yes,
Yeah.
actually, we've already taken down one of the dormers. There's 38 dormers on the building, and we've already taken a complete set. If you look on the west side where we had to remove the rotted porch, we removed one of those, and that we have it to a shop, and they're actually making the pieces exact, so it'll match exact all the way around. We're also, we took down the east side pole gutter, and what we found in doing the wet blasting, this was something I thought was interesting. There was actually roof tar above the windows on the second floor under the soffit. And what was happening is they thought the outside was leaking in, but it was actually the gutter was allowing the water to go down right above the wall. So instead of fixing the gutter, they kept applying stuff to the outside of the windows. That's why we believe they painted the marble, because it got so mucky with, there were about 6 of those windows that had this tar that the wet blasting actually took off. So we're actually rebuilding all the pole gutters exact. Our Manny Zook, our carpenter, is actually going to rebuild the entire around the perimeter because there's so much rot. That's the only part of the building I would say that's not in good condition, other than the outside porches, which just have been spliced together. They were a mess. But the inside of the building, the structure, is phenomenal. I think Tim can attest to that. So, any other questions?
The stair, the interior stair, can you comment on that, the original stair?
Oh, what we did, the first thing we did, we had our stair man, stair contractor, Harmonson Stair. They came in with a crew of 4 for 3 days, and what they did was take the banisters and the balusters off individually, and they were all mortise, dovetailed in, and they they started at the ground floor and went item by item and marked it, take it off-site. They're going to refurbish those and then replace any that are, there were a couple that were gone. There's also sections of the banister that had deteriorated. They're remaking it. So we're actually restoring the entire staircase. So,
Beautiful
That's great.
feature. That's great.
yeah, so actually, I have a picture of,
Oh, look at that.
that's
Okay.
the detail
Mm-hmm.
of
Beautiful.
the balusters. So that, they've all been removed, and that's a close-up
Mm-hmm.
there. This is the original cornerstone, which is on the third floor, right under the tower. You can see 1867, 68, which is kind of neat. And these are some of those 1,000 photographs. I took
great.
you. It's just a little collage, but that shows the staircase. So we removed we
That's really beautiful.
removed that whole run. We have to level it off and rebuild it, but
That's great.
it's going to be all restored.
You know, I just want to mention that we don't have, as a board, we don't have any purview over the interior, but we were just asking this because we were interested in it, just to clarify things. But it looks like you're doing a beautiful job.
Thank you. No, it's a big project. And it'll take a little longer to put it back together than it to take it apart. But no, we're very excited, and we want to thank you very much because this has been a very long process, but it's been a very worthwhile process. And I think we said all along. I know early on in the process there have been some questions. Well, why didn't we have everything? Why didn't we lay it all out when we were doing the underground garage and everything? Well, as you can see from tonight, there's things that we had no idea
Right.
what we were going to encounter until we got to this point. And as quickly as we've learned about them, we've brought them before this board. So I want to thank you for your understanding, and we look forward. I hope this is the last time I have to come back, but if not, we'll be back. Okay?
Well, thank you for your
Thank you.
update.
Yeah, thanks
Okay,
so much.
thanks a lot.
All right, any other new business for anybody? Any old? No old? Okay, I think we should adjourn. All in favor? Done.